Welcome to part 2 of the distributive property, page 3. On this page, we're going to be distributing fractions. But let's take a moment to remember a few things about fraction multiplication. Let's take a look and make some notes at the top of our page. If we take something like this, 1/2 times 4 over 7. We know that we're going to multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. The fractions are in great form. However, we can cross-reduce before we multiply. We can factor a 2 out of each of these. This numerator, 4 divided by 2, becomes 2. And this denominator, 2 divided by 2, becomes 1. We take 1 times 2, which is 2, and 1 times 7, which is 7. The answer is 2/7. What if we get a problem like this? 3/5 times the whole number 4. Well, it's not in great form right now, but if we put a 1 under the whole number 4, we're ready to multiply. Now it's in good form. We check to see if we can cross-reduce, and we can't on this problem. So we're just going to multiply top times top, which is 12, bottom times bottom, which is 5. Now that's an improper fraction or answer. So we're going to take 12 divided by 5. 5 goes into 12 twice, remainder 2, and we put that over the 5. So our final answer here is 2 2/5. That's just a refresher for fraction multiplication. We're going to distribute a fraction and multiply, so let's do an example or two up at the top of our page. We're going to start with this very simple problem. 1/5 times the quantity 2x minus 4. We need to multiply 1/5 times the first term, 2x, and 1/5 times the second term, the negative 4. In order to prepare each of these terms for multiplication, we're going to put a 1 under each of these so they're in fraction form. And there are no shortcuts. We're simply going to take 1/5 times 2 over 1x, bring down the minus sign, then 1/5 times 4 over 1. Now it's time to multiply. We're going to go top times top, bottom times bottom. 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Bring down the x. And then 1 times 4 is 4. 5 times 1 is 5. We can't reduce any of the fractions, so our answer is 2/5 x minus 4. Now let's try one that might be a bit more complicated. Let's write down 2/5 times the quantity negative 10y plus 15. Please put that in the notes area. We're going to prepare each of these terms for multiplication by putting them in fraction form. Now it's time to multiply. 2/5 times -10 over 1y plus, now we multiply the second term, 2/5 times 15 over 1. We can factor out a 5 out of this term and that term. If we divide each of these by 5, we get a 1 in the denominator, and a -2 in the numerator. And if we go to our second multiplication problem, we can factor out a 5 out of each of these. This numerator becomes 3. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And this denominator becomes 1 as we factor out a 5. Now we're ready to multiply. Top times top. 2 times -2 is -4. 1 times 1 is simply 1. And don't forget the y. Plus, top times top is 6. And as we multiply the denominators, 1 times 1 is simply 1. Now let's finish up by tidying up our problem. -4 over 1 is simply -4y plus 6 over 1, simply 6. We get -4y plus 6. Now let's take a look at the problems you've been given to work on. Let's start by completing problems 1, 3, and 5 together. Let's draw our arrows to indicate distributing in number 1 and put a 1 underneath each of these terms to prepare for multiplication. We need to take 1/4 times 2x over 1, 1/4 times 2 over 1x, plus 1/4 times 4 over 1. Now, we can factor out a 2 out of each of these. This becomes 1. This becomes a denominator of 2. When we do top times top, bottom times bottom, we get 1/2 x. And we can do a bit of reducing here. We can divide a 4 out of each of these terms to get 1 and 1. Top times top is 1. Bottom times bottom is 1. Our final answer is 1/2 x plus 1 over 1 is simply 1. Let's take a look at our next problem, number 3. We're going to prepare each of these by placing a 1 underneath. And we're going to take 1/2 times -1 over 1x plus 1/2 times 4 over 1. We're going to multiply each term by 1/2. Now we look to our first multiplication problem, and there's not much reducing, but 1 times a -1 on top gives us a -1. 2 times 1 is 2. So it's -1/2 x plus, I can cross reduce, but what if I don't? I'm just going to go top times top, which is 4, bottom times bottom, which is 2. Well, we know that 4 over 2 is really equal to 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So our final answer is negative 1/2 x plus the whole number 2. Now let's try one more, problem number 5. Let's prepare our terms for multiplication, and simply 1/3 times 6 over 1x minus 1/3 times 9 over 1. And this time, I'm not going to cross reduce. I'll reduce at the end. Let's go top times top, which is 6. Bottom times bottom, well, that's 3. 6/3 x minus top times top, which is 9. Bottom times bottom, which is 3. Well, we know 6 divided by 3 is really 2x minus 9 divided by 3, well, that's simply a 3. So our answer here is 2x minus 3. For some of us, it might be wise not to cross-reduce and do your reducing right here at the very end. Complete the rest of the problems on this page, 2, 4, and 6 on your own.